Second.
I got a motion by Councilman Brown, second by Councilwoman Gordon. Any objections? Hearing none.
Mr. Brown?
Yes.
Ms. Gordon?
Yes.
Mr. Hubble?
Yes.
Ms. Lacy?
Yes.
Mr. Riviere?
Yes.
Motion passes.
Thank you. All right, agenda item 10, public hearing to obtain views regarding the adoption of an ordinance to adjust the City of Port Allen General Fund budget for the fiscal year 2021 to recognize additional revenues from the sales tax in the amount of $500,000. Anyone from the public wish to be heard on this agenda item? No one respond. We'll close the public hearing. Agenda item 11. Consider adoption of an ordinance to amend the City of Port Allen General Fund for fiscal year 2020 through 2021 to recognize additional revenues from the sales taxes in the amount of $500,000. Finance Committee, and Ms. Roche, can you read?
Ordinance number 7 of 2021, an ordinance to amend the fiscal year 2020-2021 budget estimates of the revenue, expenditures, and fund balance of the City of Port Allen's General Fund to recognize additional revenues from sales tax in the amount of $500,000 and to provide for related matters. Motion.
Ms. McCain?
This is the additional revenue that we've received over the budgeted amount. It's projected this year to be, I think, $560,000, and so what we're doing is we're recognizing $500,000 of it. That will avoid us having a ding from the auditor, because that would be more than the budgeted amount. That's the purpose of recognizing it now. And that's what this budget ordinance does.
Is it, it's 560 or 860?
No, it's 860, but I had reduced the budget,
Okay.
projected budget to $2.7 million as opposed to $3 million.
Okay.
The amount over the budgeted amount is 860.
Right, I got you.
Okay, I'm recognizing 500 of it. That's what I gave you earlier to show you where we were. But it's actually, we were back where we had been for the last several years, but over that as well.
So that means we're not in a deficit, right, with this?
No, that just means that you have more revenue in that particular line item than the others.
So are we still in
Because-
a deficit, like y'all said?
Well, until all the audited journal entries are done at year end, I can't say that. That certainly is a plus. It's a positive that you have more revenue than less. But there are other items that didn't meet budget. There are other line items in the general fund that didn't meet budget, like property taxes and franchise taxes, and not by a lot, certainly not by this large a number.
Okay.
But this may be enough to compensate for that. I hope so, anyway.
Thank you, Ms. Archer. I move.
I mean, during a pandemic, to be able to have that amount of sales taxes, and we doing something right.
Well, somebody in the parish is, for sure. Because we benefit, the city benefits based on our population, just because of the way our taxes are distributed. Even if a project like Criterion or Exxon or the port even expends tremendous amounts of sales tax money, we get a piece of that, even though it's not actually in the city, just because of the way our stuff is designed. So yeah, somebody's doing something right.
I move.
Brandon moved.
Second.
All right, I got a motion by Councilman Brown, second by Councilman Riviere. Any objections? Hearing none.
Mr. Brown?
Yes.
Ms. Gordon?
Yes.
Mr. Hubble?
Yes.
Lacy?
Yes.
Mr. Riviere?
Yes.
Motion passes.
Thank you. Agenda item 12, public hearing to obtain views regarding the adoption of an ordinance to amend the City of Port Allen's low-income housing fund budget for fiscal year 2020 to 2021 to recognize additional revenues for providing services in the fund for the amount of $50,000 and additional expenses in the amount of $35,000. Anyone from the public wish to be heard? No one respond, we'll close the public hearing. Agenda item 13, consider adoption of an ordinance to amend the City of Port Allen's low-income housing fund budget for fiscal year 2020 to 2021 to recognize additional revenues for providing services in this fund in the amount of $50,000 and additional expenses in the amount of $35,000. Ms. Roche, read the order.
An ordinance to amend the fiscal year 2020-2021 budget estimates of the revenues, expenditures, and fund balance of the City of Port Allen's general fund to recognize additional revenue for providing services in this fund in the amount of $50,000 and additional expenses in the amount of $35,000 and to provide for related matters.
Council, this is the Section 8 fund where we provide services to low-income housing individuals in the city. And because of COVID, I believe, because of other reasons too, but some of them, the biggest one being COVID, the federal government sent more money than, and we spent more money than I had anticipated in the original budget that I usually use historical budgets to say what it's going to be. And we got more money than I had anticipated, but we spent more money than of that. So that really is just a wash. The money that comes in goes out. We don't make a lot of money on that. They pay us for some administration costs and stuff for the fact that we have to send all the letters out and send all the checks out and prepare the checks and all that kind of stuff. So we get a little bit of money on administration costs, but not anything significant. But it really is kind of a pass-through. But in order for us to not get dinged on an audit, because there was more money in than I had anticipated and more money spent than I had anticipated, we need to recognize both of those items, both as the revenue side and the spending side. And that's why I've come up with these numbers. Glad to answer any questions you might have.
I move. Thank you, sir.
Second.
Got a motion by Councilman Brown, second by Councilman Riviere. Any objections? Hearing none.
Mr. Brown?
Yes.
Mr. Hubble?
Yes.
Ms. Lacy?
Yes.
Mr. Riviere?
Yes.
Ms. Gordon?
Yes.
Motion passes. Agenda item 14, consider authorizing Mayor Lee to pay Southeast Alabama Youth Services Incorporated $618 for housing a juvenile offender. Chief?
Mayor, Council, this was the first place that we had to house that young man that committed that crime in May. As of now, I'm getting with the sheriff's office. Right now, he's being housed in Natchez, Mississippi now. He's a lot closer than where he was in Alabama, so I haven't heard anything yet. So we're trying to find out if we have to foot the bill or if they're going to split it with us. I haven't gotten no response back from them yet. So this is the bill that for when we had to house him in Alabama for that short time.
Yeah, that was my question was gonna be, was the parish and the state gonna pick up any costs?
Yeah, I'm waiting on one of the sheriff's office representatives to get back with me on that now.
So if he housing in Mississippi now, how long will he be there?
Till he goes
Till
to
trial?
yes.
So we have to pay till the time he goes to trial?
Well, I haven't received a bill yet for him, but it's coming.
Okay. Is it gonna be more than 618 or less, or you don't know yet?
No, ma'am.
So we looking to flip this bill to house him for however long, and just the
I think the parish
Guilty.
should
Tell
pick
me.
up too.
none, not guilty, come home guilty. Or is he being tried as an adult? He go to the prison, or how that's gonna go?
Like I said, he's still going through the court process. He had a hearing, I think, last week, and they pushed it back. So now his next court date is, I think, August 11th.
So he really hadn't started anything?
No, he hasn't even started.
Home incarceration, that wasn't an option or something?
No,
No,
ma'am.
not for
No,
a crime
ma'am.
like that?
No.
Hey, the lad, she innocent still.
Why is he
Yeah,
in
but that's
Mississippi?
Because no juvenile, we don't have no openings in the juvenile facilities down here to house him.
In the whole state of Louisiana?
Yes, sir.
So are we planning on getting something for the juvenile here in Port Allen? I know heard talk of it. What did you hear about it?
Same here, Councilman Gore. Just talk. You know, they trying to get something together now to try parish in order to put some funds together to build a juvenile facility.
And this will be a good way to pressure. I feel like we need to create some juvenile programs before we start looking at some juvenile facilities.
Well, we can do the facility and the program all in once. I mean, you can't have these youngsters going out here committing these crimes and know they don't have nowhere to go. And, you know, they out here committing crimes.
But what's the preventative measures they have
You
in
know.
place that where they won't be out there committing crimes? What do we have in the city of Port Allen, in the parish of West Baton Rouge, that indicate any type of program, any type of preventative measures? What I would like to see collaboration between the sheriffs, the DA, the city. Like, we need to create programs to help to divert crime and children that's getting into crime. Like, before we look like building detention centers and.
What kind of program? I mean, you know.
I mean, they have several programs that you have to just kind of either research or you have to do some things that's tailor-made for your community.
Like leadership and mentorship.
Like Big Buddy program or
Yeah,
something like
Big
that?
Buddy program.
Well, I remember one time, Brenda, I know you recall that, New Beginning.
But we have to get something.
They had something going at one time.
Yeah, and that was more spearheaded through,
Yeah.
the
21st century money through the schools.
correct.
It's
So,
Right.
21st century.
so it wasn't the police department or anything. They might have had
Right.
a couple of police officers that was involved. Myself, Miss Charlene, had a few people involved from the community. But as far as just the structure, being
Like
able to step
fence,
up.
we don't have a fence, we don't have home incarceration, it's just a lot that we don't have.
Well, it's a lot that, you know, the probation and parole officers are doing their job. They putting ankle monitors on these juveniles, but it's just like anything else. They have no responsibility. They leaving out their houses. Their parents don't know where they're at half the time. They manipulating the devices that they put on them.
Accountability on the parents.
That's where they all start, with the parents.
We can ante up all that.
We can get all the group together, but if the parents don't step in and do their job.
So, you know, my officers have been doing their job when they see these juveniles walking or roaming and they know that they supposed to be on house arrest and everything. They're doing reports, they turning everything in to the probation and parole officers, letting the judges know that, hey, you know, it's not going to be that we're not doing our job. Everything is being documented, turned in.
Court system, do you know what any stipulations, like once you're in the court system, do they mandate anger management, mandate substance abuse, mandated counseling, any type of mandate?
I couldn't tell you, Councilman
I
Lacy.
can tell you, no. You know, so that we got to start building systems.
And like I know, like you said, with the house arrest, the bracelet and all that on their legs, somebody got to be responsible for what the purpose of putting it on if nobody not monitoring it.
And
You know,
like I said,
that's defeats the purpose. You know, that's home incarcerating right there.
Yeah,
When they have the monitor on and they take out off or however way they do it, and whoever will be monitoring, they not monitoring them. So somebody got to be held accountable for why the youth out 9, 10 o'clock at night. The parents first.
that's where it
If we
starts
start
from.
doing stuff with these parents, then maybe we can do something with these children.
Values begin at home.
That's right. I'm not gonna say nothing about no police officers and all this here. Yeah, I do like police officers to be role models to some these young guys out here. They don't have to have a father figure that has, like someone said. Gary's son may not want to be a father figure, follow his step of selling furniture. He might wants to be a police officer, and he's watching you out here handling business as a police officer. That's a role model. You don't have to say that you have to be a father figure or their father to be their role model. You know, Miss Clerice might, you know, somebody see her out in the public and say, I want to be just like Miss Clerice. She's a role model. She don't have to be their mother, but she's a role model. The mayor, somebody might say they want to be a mayor like Mayor Lee. So they watching and paying attention. So they don't have to be their mother or their father to be a role model. But one thing about it, you can say what you want, you can have all the programs you want in here in West Baton Rouge Parish, but if you don't hold these parents accountable for it, you're wasting your time. The parents have to stand up take charge of their children. You let your child walk out that door with their pants sagging down. That's your child. I shouldn't have to tell him to pull your pants up. My son is 32 years old, and I dare him to walk out my house or his own house with his pants hanging down. Because I'm still his mother.
Being that I work with children on a daily basis, every child don't have a parent in the home. Like they have like not, you know, like these grandparents, foster parents, like who's not really, really equipped. And they may just be taking on the responsibility of their son or daughter. Who,
I understand that.
You know, so,
Yeah.
and a lot of kids fall into that. And we even those, I see though, you know, sometimes they be more than high risk for crime, you know, because they don't have anybody to oversee them. They don't have that structure in the
Correct.
home.
And that's where we, as people, if we see that, we should be able to step up and help that child. I have helped a lot of kids in the school system, you know, that parents just wasn't there for them. I did. No one asked me, but that's what I love to do. I like to help children that need help.
Well, that, like I said, I
You
believe
know.
that's where it's gonna making a difference within the systems. I mean, the holistic system. It could be with the home, the school, the after school, even once they get into the judicial system, like that is where the difference is gonna be made. Like we wanna definitely, don't want to see them get to that point, but when you see them heading that way, you have to really catch them at that point to try and divert them, to try and make a difference in their life. And you may not save them all.
Right. And just like this young man
We have to
here.
have something in place before we said we just gonna incarcerate them. Because every child, I don't believe every human should be incarcerated. I don't believe that either.
And just like this child here with this charge, his parents are good people, good parents. You know, peer pressure. You know, parents have to work. They can't sit home all day and watch, but somewhere it have to start at home, somewhere.
Maybe we can come up with a program.
And we have to figure out something, because if the city gonna be paying the cost for every juvenile
Yeah.
that get in trouble to go to different facilities, and we have to, no.
So they had that St. James facility that they closed down. Did anyone ever think about trying to remodel or reopen it or something?
No.
It's just sitting there?
I don't know what they're using it for. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know what they're using it for, because they turned the old juvenile place in Baker, LTI. That's the women's facility now.
Right, it's after that flood.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, you know, like I said, you know, you go through all these processes and stuff to help these young people, you know, and they got to help themselves. A lot of times they use, well, I come from a single parent home, and they use that as a crutch or a kickstand. If you want to better yourself and you see that your mother or your father or your grandmother or your grandfather is doing everything to raise you and make you a productive person, and you go opposite of what they're doing, then, you know, sometimes you might be defeating the purpose. You know, like I said, it's all about acceptance now. You know, when I was their age, you know, if you wanted to do it, you did it. If you didn't, hey, it wasn't no big deal. But now it's all about acceptance. They want to be accepted, and especially a young man, a young woman that has low self-esteem about themselves. You know, they just want to fit in with the crowd, you know. And sometimes if they can't think for themselves, they're in some bad shape.
And there's a lot of factors and variables that, you know, that goes on with that. I understand. I don't think the pressures any different than pressures we had. It's all about choices.
It's all about choice. It's all about choice.
So
I do understand that.
are you working on getting this item busted up, this amount?
Yeah, I'm just waiting to hear from the sheriff's office.
So what you want us to do? Pay it now and get reimbursed, or what? Put it on the table till you get answers?
Well, this has to be taken care of. Like I said, as far as the other thing with him being housed in Natchez, that's what I'm working on.
So I
So
think-
this here just
yeah, I
need
think
to
we
be
gotta
taken
pay
care of.
this.
Yeah.
And if we can get some money back, yeah. I'll make the motion.
I second
All right, got one
And
quick
excuse me,
question.
So that's this bill, and we have another bill that's coming behind this one, right?
Yes, ma'am.
That's what he said.
But that's what you're working on to,
Yeah,
okay, and then just say so no one, comes in, then it'll fall back on us again?
yes, ma'am.
And this 618 cover, how long? He was,
3 days.
Yeah, I think he was up there for about 3 days.
and how long have he been
In Natchez,
in that?
he's been in Natchez about over a month, right at a month, close to a month.
you. So we don't want to see
I don't
that
think we
bill.
should say this. I mean, I would like to see how this unfold.
Well, I think we have to pay it now because it's what past due or up to date to be paid.
What's gonna happen if we don't?
Well, I say, I guess the facility will take action.
Not only that, but you have to consider what happened when there's another juvenile that needs to be housed.
And they won't take them.
And another one, and another one, and another one.
This is a process, a problem that I guess was exacerbated by decisions that were made a long time ago, referencing juvenile facilities and the closing of those facilities, and pushing those charges away from the state back to the arresting agencies until the adjudication process is complete. Once he's adjudicated, one way or the other, then the responsibility of the housing transfers to most likely the state.
State?
Yeah, but pre-adjudication and incarceration falls on the arresting agency.
Do we know is he being tried as an adult? Because that would be the only way he go into he'll still stay in the juvenile facility and complete
He's
that,
arrested as a juvenile, so
that juvenile life though,
all
right?
of that information is going to be sealed until a decision is made to charge him as an adult. So,
He's probably going to the juvenile
Yeah.
facility because of his age. But it would be a matter
Just 14,
for the
right?
district attorney to decide.
weigh in on whether or not.
And who will be paying for that?
Yeah. I'm sorry.
And who will pay for that if that be the case? If that
How
is
he's charged, I think that's just the district attorney, that's just how he's charged. I don't think that makes a difference on, where they're housing. If they try, I wouldn't think if the district attorney charges them as an adult, I have no idea how they're gonna charge, that they would put them in like a general population type deal with adults. They probably still keep them in a juvenile facility regardless of how he may be charged at the trial.
But at that point, there's no cost that we will incur at that point because then
Now, typically, the cost of incarceration falls on the arresting agency until throughout the adjudication process. When you're sentenced, the judge commits you to the custody of the DOC. And the DOC can decide if you serve that time in a parish facility or any other facility. But prior to the state, to the individual being committed to the Department of Corrections from the state, it's on the arresting agency. And typically there are joint regulatory schemes between the cities, the parishes, the sheriffs run prisons in most parishes. So, but the reality is that when it comes to juvenile offenders, it typically fell on the state. If your parish or municipality did not have the funds to provide its own facility. Traditionally, people from this area went to the St. James juvenile facility, which is no longer in operation. So, it's
and other than St. James, what's the other one that they go to that you said he wasn't?
Lafayette.
It's one outside Lafayette.
Yeah.
So usually when they go there, there's no cost to us.
No.
And they don't have anything available in Lafayette?
No openings.
Yeah, because I think they say they had, one bed left, they want to keep it for their own.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
So you're saying that he's been in Natchez for a month?
close,
30 days.
yeah, about close to 30 days.
And that's what you're working on to bust up with sheriff and whatever like that?
Yeah, to
So-
see if we gonna foot the whole bill or if they gonna split it with us, that sort of thing.
Is the parish involved with the splitting of the cost too?
Like I said, I had to get with the sheriff's office on that. I've been getting with the guy. He never got back with me as of yet, so I'm still working on that.
So theoretically, if we're talking about 30 days, you said this was 6/18 was 3 days.
Mhm.
So just rounding it off, it's $200 a day, so you're looking at $6,000 for the 30 days.
And he doesn't come back to court till August 11th.
Right, so your 30 days is already
Plus.
stopped, really. The clock's ticked on that, so we're gonna go another 3 weeks.
Yes, sir.
So we're getting kind of hefty on that.
It's gonna become a big deal. And we would have to do this for every juvenile. This would be the case.
That creates a hellacious crime like he did.
And they allege he did.
And what budget, and what is?
That's Ms. McLean. She got to determine where she's gonna pull that. Ms. McLean?
The police department budget?
Yep.
Is she here?
We'll take a hit, chief.
The council wants to know this $600 that, for this juvenile offender to be housed, that they're asking us to pay. Would that come out we would have to create a special line item for that?
No, just, it'll come out of police department's budget.
Okay,
No, not to create a line item every invoice that you have.
okay,
It doesn't make a difference to anybody.
all right.
No, we didn't know.
But they have to come out somewhere in this budget.
All right, chief, out your budget.
Yeah.
You got those vests you getting ready to order?
You better get on the phone and start calling.
Yeah.
We had a motion by Mr. Riviere, second by Ms. Gordon.
Any other questions?
That's
All right,
it.
who's the motion?
I'll move.
Motion by Councilman Riviere, second by
Ms. Gordon.
Councilwoman Gordon. Any objections? Hearing none?
Mr. Brown?
Yes.
Ms. Gordon?
Yes.
Mr. Hubble?
No.
Ms. Lacy?
No,
Mr. Riviere?
Yes.
Motion passes.
Thank you.
Agenda item 15, consider introduction of a budget amendment ordinance in the sewer fund to cover emergency expenses associated with the repairs and improvements to the city wastewater treatment plant.
Mr. McCain probably can explain. We get all of these.
You,
Mr. McCain?
Ms. Arden?
Number 15, with the wastewater treatment.
This is to introduce an ordinance to amend the budget to expend the money that's in the
Oh, we didn't we didn't vote for it?
Yeah, what happened on June the 9th, 2021, our engineer requested an emergency bypass status on the sewer plant, and he gave us a figure of close to $99,000 to cover the cost of one priming pump, the installation of the pump, and $50,000 for a control panel and a second pump, and after installation and testing, recommend different other pumps for the flooding or whatever they had going on at a particular time. And right now, we got the bills for those installations of that one pump. And we need authorization to pay the contractors for that installation and repairs that they made. And according to Ms. McCain, it wasn't an item that was budgeted for that particular year.
That's correct.
And when Mr. Aricall brought it to the council's attention, and we discussed it and approved it, but we didn't take a vote on authorizing the city to pay for those expenses. Am I correct?
Yes,
You said the only thing we're covering?
in the 2021 budget.
Yeah, that's when all the pumps and the effluent pumps,
Yeah.
the effluent pumps went out,
Yeah.
and we had no pumps, and it was an emergency situation. Otherwise, we wouldn't build a pump sewer.
Okay, make a motion. Somebody.
Is that the one we covering?
I'm sorry?
It's 13,000, that's all we covering? Or the 9?
I have no idea how much we're covering. Mayor needs to answer that.
How much we covering?
It was estimated at roughly about, it's about 100 grand.
So that's what we paying now?
You are introducing an ordinance to authorize the amendment to the 2021 budget to add and authorize the spending up to $100,000 on these repairs and improvements.
200,000?
100.
100,000.
It's more. The invoice for the bypass pump alone is $99,000.
Okay.
The replacement Gorman Rupp pump that was installed permanently is $13,000 and change just for the pump, and then $22,000 for the installation of that pump. So those three invoices alone are already at what, 36?
Yeah, 36.
136,000 and some change. And then there are two more pumps that have been ordered. However, I imagine since we won't be invoiced until we receive them, there was approval in the budget for this current fiscal year to make repair to a plant. So I imagine we can pay for those from those funds. That $480,000 that is bringing with the sewer system repairs. I defer.
Thank you.
Mayor, can we do the amendment of up to 140? You're saying 136 is the number?
Only if we can pay for those other two pumps and the installation of those other two
Exactly.
pumps out of that 480. So
Right.
that's kind of where we are. That has to be put, because those pumps were ordered in the last fiscal year, but they weren't available anywhere in the United States, and they won't be in until the end of July.
Can we?
I go to finance to ask whether or not that's gonna be a 2021 or 2022 expenditure. That's what I'm saying.
If the item was ordered and the city's money was encumbered, then it needs to be in the year that happened. Like in the case of the 13,000, the purchase order is dated in May. So those have to be done, and the cost of the installation of that becomes the total cost. So the 130 or whatever needs to be amended into the 2021 budget, not the other one. As far as anything that you order today after July the 1st, if you order it today and it doesn't come in until next June, it's still going to be in this fiscal year because that's when it was ordered. So to answer the question, can you use it in the 480,000? Yes, you certainly can. That's a choice because what he's saying, what the auditors, Mr. Aricall said was that he gave a proposal, I think, of about almost $490,000 of the improvements, this being a part of those improvements, some of which we're going to put in 1 year, the rest of it we're going to put in 21, 22, that you did approve and that you did authorize several $100,000 in improvements in the sewer plant. And also, when this American Rescue Plan money is available, that can also be dedicated for those costs. But that's a council choice, not my choice.
That'll go towards 2020, 2021.
I haven't received the money yet, but I was told that it's actually imminent. And so I suspect in a matter of a week or so, as long as I get it before the middle of September when I have to close out 2021's budget, I can put half of it in that budget and the other half in the new budget. I can do that. I just don't have the money yet, and so I can't recognize something that doesn't exist yet. I know that it's coming, I know the amount. We're dealing with the federal government, though. So it takes a minute.
The other two Golden Well pumps were ordered June 15th. Right on, June 15th, 2021.
Then that would have to be encumbered.
$40,047.
How much?
$40,047 added to the 136, and it's roughly that. Right, and the installation of each pump has been ranging the bids between 22 and 25,000 each. The first one was 22, but Tony's gonna rebid it when those pumps arrive so that we get numbers that are closer to that time frame to do the work.
But so the installation cost doesn't necessarily need to be in 20?
It does. It's the same thing as if I buy a car
Right.
and then I stripe it. The striping, the car, the installation of all the equipment and all of that, that becomes the capital item. Anything that the architect, the construction and everything.
Yeah.
So we know it's coming. We can anticipate the amount somewhere between 20 and 25,000 and say, okay, this is what we're going to budget for. Then when the check is actually written and it's maybe we're lucky and it's 17 or 18,000, then that's not the number that would actually be put in it.
Right.
But I can't recognize it yet. I can't bring you anything to say, we got this money, we need to recognize it, and y'all can tell me a list of priorities, how you want to spend it. Because I have to account for that. If I don't, we got to give it back. So I have to account for it very specifically.
I was being constructed in housing, but I understand, talking to Tony, say, we have about 20 years on it. It's gonna last us.
I hope so, no doubt.
So your total is,
With those two new pumps, we're probably looking at 176, and another 50,000 for installation. I would go 230 to be careful. And then-
230?
Yeah, and then whatever the invoices are, they are. But no need to come back.
Right. So it's better to overestimate it.
480 in that coverage.
It's in the new fiscal
That's
budget,
the
yes.
current July 1, 2021.
You're amending last year's budget.
This is going back to the last budget, but just to be safe,
If I
cover all our bases.
If I understood you correctly, Audrey, if the stimulus money, I don't know the official name, we can, if it comes in before September, we can kick half of it back
Yes, yes, you can.
to the 20.
2021 budget to cover these additional expenses and target that money specifically for this improvement. Yes, you can.
I'll make a motion. What's
Second.
the number you said, 230? To be safe, yeah,
Yeah,
I'm like,
that doesn't-
We're right at 226. I can tell you that the $22,000 bid to install was the low bid by the person who could do it the quickest. The competing bid was 25,000 and some change, but they couldn't do it for 21 days.
Right.
So we're talking about another 3 months between that, give or take. The pumps are expected to arrive at the end of July, and then it's gonna come down to the availability of the contractors and so on and so forth. So keep in mind, we're currently running on one pump. So it's imperative to get at least one of those pumps installed as soon as possible. Therefore, we had 136 plus 40,000. The pumps have been ordered for $40,047 with a PO issued, so that is set. The installation cost is going to be anywhere between 22 and 27, 25, 27. It could vary depending on what changes from the June project to the August project. But whatever the number is,
It's 22 for each pump now.
it's limited to this project. So once this project is completed, the difference does not, it won't go into another project.
Did you factor that in, that
Yeah.
it's 22 each pump? You factored
he
that?
said 50.
50.
I said 50 on
Installation.
top of the 176, that gets you about 226, 227, 230, about 3,000 more. If you wanna go 5,000, that's 2,500 for each installation more, that gets you 22,500. But 22 plus 225, 24,500. It could be anywhere in that range, but Tony is not going to rebid those installations until the pumps are on site. So that we don't get a bid that expires in 30 days and then we have to go back to the drawing board and rebid it anyway. So 230, 235, I think is safe. And then, like I said, it's only for this project. So you have the money that you already budgeted for what's anything that arises from here going forward.
I make the motion to introduce a budget amendment in
Second.
the amount of $235,000 in the sewer fund to cover emergency expense costs.
All right. I got a motion by Councilman Riviere, second by Councilman Brown. Any objections? Hear none?
Mr. Brown?
Yes.
Ms. Gordon?
Yes.
Mr. Hubble?
Yes.
Ms. Lacy?
Yes.
Mr. Riviere?
Yes.
Motion passes.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr.
Thank
King.
you, Audrey. Thank you, Lance.
Agenda item 16, condemnation proceeding.
None at this time, Mayor, we probably will have to next.
That's correct.
7.
Georgia.
Georgia's taking care of it.
Georgia looks good.
Georgia.
Okay.
It looks good. And I've gotten some compliments and some thank yous, so yeah.
Agenda item 17, alcoholic beverage permits. Agenda item 18, announcements and correspondence. I just want to remind the public that Republic Services did put out a notification as to their procedures for picking up garbage. You should have had one in your mail for your utility bill this month. And I'm not going to go over each one of them, but specific things to keep in mind is that the trash will be picked up on one day, and that's going to be on Wednesday of each week. Large and small trash piles. They did ask that you bag all your leaves, debris, in the garbage bag, and they will pick it up. If it is not in the garbage bag, they will not pick it up. They do want you to separate your branch piles from your wooded piles and your other type of trash pile, and make sure that you do not stack these items at the curb next to a vehicle, because they will not pick it up if a vehicle is parked near the pile. But all pickups will be on Wednesdays. The only other pickup that they will do are the white goods, and that will be on a Saturday. You will have your regular services for garbage still will be on Wednesdays and Saturdays, and your recycles on Friday.
Mayor, are you done with your correspondence? I just want to ask, are we allowed, I mean, not allowed, but for the Taste of WBR tailgate, is anyone planning on attending that? No?
I'm out of town.
Huh?
I'm gonna be out of town.
We out of time? So is that something that we take care of ourselves, or do the city take care of that?
Is it an expense?
Yes.
Yeah, well, just let us know what it is and that you're gonna attend.
Okay. And also, they have the Lunch and Learn with Congressman Gary Gray. Anyone planning on attending that next month?
What's the date on it?
We have time, but it's Wednesday, August the 25th.
I work on Wednesdays. I would like to go to that.
What time?
11:30.
That's at the Chambers. The Chambers luncheon.
Yeah, the Chamber of
Oh,
Commerce.
Mhm.
Yes.
I'll take care of both for that. Just give me a call who wants to go.
Okay.
Charlene,
And also,
please.
okay. And also, the convention, the annual convention, everyone signed up for this?
For Elgin?
Yeah, but it's
I
on
got
the
everybody
29th, I
ready.
think.
I think I got everybody ready.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm done.
She should do the mayor correspondence from now.
Tell them.
Somebody was mayor.
Yeah, that'd be nice.
Small fee, small fee.
All right, no other announcements. Agenda 19, adjournment.
I move. Second.
I got a motion by Councilman Riviere, second by Councilman Brown. Meeting adjourned.